Welcome to Guided Spirit Conversations. I'm your host, Marla Goldberg. This podcast has been created with you in mind to acquaint you with some of the most incredible metaphysicians and spiritual leaders from around the globe who have helped others change their lives. In this interactive hour, you will be offered insights and techniques to help you make a difference in your life. Don't forget to subscribe to the show in your favorite listening platform. And here we go, onto the show. Hello. How are you doing today? Well, it is Thursday, and I'm Marla Goldberg, your host. And I'm really happy to have Bernadette Pelina with me today. And so Bernadette is a Reiki and Intuitive energy healer. She's trained in the Usui Reiki Ryoho tradition. She treats children, adults, and even those in the womb. Her sessions are a combination of Reiki, mediumship, and intuitive guidance. Bernadette has a private practice in Torrance, California to help support personal growth, healing relationships, and promoting the whole health wellness for those who suffer from mental or emotional health issues and addiction. Bernadette wants to help others achieve balance and peace in their lives by releasing stored traumas that hold them back or interfere with their quality of life. Welcome, Bernadette. How are you doing today?
Hi, Marla. Thank you for having me. This is such a great opportunity, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to have you here. I know that you were going to be on a different show and you were moving, so I'm so happy that you've moved and you're here, and we can now talk about you and what you do and how you help and how you work with people. But I always like to start at the beginning. How did your journey begin? What was the catalyst?
Well, I have a very, untraditional spiritual background. I started off as an attorney. So I was an attorney for about 15 years. And while I was doing that, I kept hearing a call to be of service. I didn't know what it was, but it was a feeling and a knowing. And then the beginning of my legal practice, one of my best friends had died when we were 28. And that was the beginning of self-reflection and connecting back to myself. And then as I had another friend of mine died when a few years later, and that's when I discovered Reiki. She actually was suffering from cervical cancer, and she had told me that she was doing Reiki for pain management. And I said, let's try it together. And when I tried Reiki, I had 3 sessions and I felt a sense of peace. And my Reiki teacher, who is now my mentor, had suggested to me, he's like, you have this really kind, strong energy. I think you should take my class. And at that time, I wasn't sure. And I was kind of thinking, well, I don't know, maybe he wants some more money, or I don't know, what this is. So I prayed about it. And at the end of the month, I had exactly the amount that I needed. So I took that as a sign and I took the class. And then when I took the class and I had my attunement, it was as if a switch was turned on for me. And then all these gifts started coming. And my Reiki teacher said, you must have been a healer in a past life or something, because there's things that you're doing that's not part of Reiki. So, and since then, the more I practice, the more I'm learning, the more my gifts are growing and evolving. So it's been a very interesting journey for me.
It's amazing, the journey, and you find your life shifting and changing in ways you've never even thought that they would. Tell us about some of the changes that you've experienced since becoming a Reiki healer.
Well, the biggest change, my family would definitely say, I used to be type A as an attorney, and now I'm definitely a lot calmer, a lot more at peace. But the biggest changes spiritually, I've definitely have found my calling. I've found my purpose. I have found ways to help people find their callings and their purpose. And with Reiki, it's just finding your center, finding your peace and grounding you so that you could live the life that you're meant to live. And I feel like that's what's happening to me. So what has helped heal me is what I'm trying to push forward by helping heal others.
Which I think is wonderful. So in the promo, I introduced you. You said that you work on babies in the womb. What's interesting is during my education, I was always taught, leave the baby, if a woman's pregnant, don't clear the baby, don't, handle that. But it's a different philosophy. So can we talk about the in utero beings that you work with?
Well, usually it's not necessarily healing in the womb, but when I'm working on a mother who is pregnant, I could feel the child. And so when I have my hands on there, because I could feel the energies or the spirits, so I could feel the child's spirit. And this child will speak to me. Usually they tell me why they picked the parents, what their purpose here is, what they like about the parent, and what they're looking forward to and growing. And I get to know their personality. I get to feel what the child is like. And so the parents do enjoy that because it's interesting what the baby will tell me.
And we all have pre-birth plans that where we, like you said, we choose our parents, we choose our circumstances, our siblings, and there truly is a plan that is in place before a baby is born, before they choose their parents.
Yes. I believe children come to help us learn lessons that we couldn't do on our own.
It's true. Well, as I always say, not only am I a teacher, I am a student. Not only are you a student, you are a teacher, because our existence in this planet is both ways. We're here to learn, we're here to teach, and we're here to heal. And that's the big piece of it, so we can work on other things, because there's an endless supply of things that we need to work on as humans in this human form. So question, you have your spirit business is Love Spirit Gratitude. Why do you call it Love Spirit? And there's no and, but Love Spirit Gratitude.
Well, I chose those words because love, right? So I am love, you are love.
Yes.
That's what we are. It is a state of being. And so if we could see everything from a place of love, or what we do is from a place of love, and what we say is from a place of love, then it will change our perspective. And that's how we also find our peace, along with gratitude. Gratitude is also a state of being. And then with spirit is your higher self. It's connecting to you. It is your soul. It is your intuition. It is what guides you. So I wanted those three things in combination, is because that's what you need to heal.
It's true. I want to hit on gratitude. It's November. We're right around the corner from Thanksgiving. I am a huge gratitude person. I talk about it. I teach about it. Let's talk to you about you and gratitude, how it's affected your life, how it's changed your life. Where? Let me back up. Where you started bringing gratitude in, and how it's helped you and changed you and opened things up for you.
Well, so during my sessions, so Reiki traditionally is laying of the hands. During a session, when I lay my hands on someone, either physically or spiritually, I receive messages. And those messages are from the client. So it's not from an outside source. It's from their spirit. It's from their soul. So basically their soul is speaking to my soul and telling me things. A lot of times the message is about gratitude. And gratitude meaning be grateful for every experience that you've had, the good and the bad. Everything serves a purpose. So this message kept coming up over and over again. And this is when I really realized, yes, what are we grateful for? We have to take a step back and just start reflecting, like, what has this person or this situation taught, what did they teach me? What can I take from this? Because that's all we can do, is we need to just take our experiences, take the lessons, and then grow from that, evolve from that. And then to be grateful, because without those experiences, we wouldn't be where we are now. So
It's so true. I have to tell you, when I started my gratitude practice, I would do it in my prayers. I'd stick them in my prayers, and I would do it every morning when I walked my dog. And all of a sudden, one morning, I realized there was so much joy and love in my heart as I'm walking the dog and saying my prayers and doing my gratitude. And it helps, once again, to open things up in one's life and they get more when you're grateful. And I like to say everything's a lesson, opportunity, or gift, or a combination of, which is similar to what you're saying. We're here for things. And when you're grateful instead of resisting, because it's showing you a new way, it just makes things so different in your life. Would you agree?
yes. And it changes your perspective on things, because maybe something bad happened to you and you're like, why did this happen? And then you're angry. But if you could change it and look from it as seeing it from a positive light, or see the silver lining, well, this had to happen. Otherwise, I wouldn't learn these lessons. I heard a beautiful saying where, I have it here. It said, I asked for strength and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom and God gave me problems to solve. I asked for courage and God gave me dangers to overcome. I asked for love and God sent me troubled people to help. And so,
I love that. Who wrote that? Did you write that?
no, I heard it somewhere and I wish I remembered where I got it from. But it is, I think, at the heart of gratitude. Be grateful for these struggles, because on some level you did ask for them, and maybe it's not how you thought these lessons were going to come, but here they are.
Exactly. I don't know if you've ever heard anyone else, but I always talk about, spirit. You ask for what you need, and if you can do it out loud, it raises the vibration. Then I always say, and here's the golden ticket, because it's not going to be linear. It's not going to be handed to you like you're at a restaurant and you've ordered a plate of food. Your support, your help is going to come. It could be through a song. It could be through a quote. You could overhear someone having a conversation with someone else, and it was exactly what you needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
as well.
I believe in those signs. Look for the coincidences or the synchronicities, because if you start paying attention to those things, they aren't just accidents.
There are no such thing as accidents. There's a book that I read, and it's sort of like, oh my God, that's so true. It says there are no accidents. Everything is synchronicity.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a believer in that, because then I started being open and realizing what you're talking about, that once you believe in synchronicity and acknowledge it, it just starts happening more and more to you.
Yeah. It's just about, I think, digging deeper. It's same with gratitude. It's digging deeper, look beyond the facade. Why is this happening? So if you want to see more in your life, you can just look beyond the surface, and you will see, oh, everything has a purpose. Everything is connected. Everything leads back to you or to source. So yeah,
It
you
does.
just have to look. If you want to find it, it's there.
Everything is in front of you, actually. It's like one of those illusion paintings or pictures where it's like, what do you see? And it's like, don't you see the bear instead of the bunny? I'm making this up. And all of a sudden you change your perspective. It's like, oh, it was there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same type of a thing. So how does Reiki and gratitude go together?
Well, for me, with Reiki, like I said, when I started doing these sessions, it's the messages that I was receiving that help people. So the messages that I receive will help people see what they need to do, or how to change their perspective and to take a step back and reflect. But Reiki, I find, helps ground people, helps them find their balance, helps them understand a lot more of maybe some mental blocks that they have. So with all this information, they could kind of change the way that they're looking at things.
And how do you suggest that somebody might start a gratitude practice?
Well, I think I like every morning. This is my personal way of doing every morning. You just, you wake up, you're grateful for another day, and you reflect upon, okay, well, what do I have for today? What do I want to accomplish for today? How do I want to leave, end the day? To me, everything is about that, taking that time, that reflection, being mindful of a lot of things. And I always feel like you should end the day better than it started and leave people better than you met them. So I think when you take that time, you feel good and they feel good, and you just left, I don't know, you just have a better day that way.
You do. I agree with you. You have better sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to interject. Like I told you, I do my gratitude and prayer.
Mm-hmm.
But at night, as I'm closing my eyes, I'll just, thank Spirit, which is gratitude, for things that happen throughout the course of my day. And then I doze off, and then I have the most amazing dreams. And so it can help you in that process too. And dreams are there for us to work through, either receive messages or work through issues, challenges that we're dealing with. Okay, here's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Reiki. How does it exactly work? Not exactly. I'm going to take the exactly out of there because there is no exact. But
well, yeah, every healer is different.
Yes.
So I'll describe my session to you. So as I mentioned earlier, Reiki is laying of the hands. Basically, it is clearing out your chakras, removing any blockages. Where I'm a little different. Some healers can feel if there's cords, if there's also any negative energy attachments, and then the chakras itself, if they're moving or not. And so the objective of Reiki is to clear out any energy or any blockages, any attachments that are on your energy, on your spirit, so that anything that doesn't belong to you has to go. So that way, whatever you do for yourself is just feeding you and not feeding any other energies. So if you want to imagine, what I'm doing is I'm filling you up with love and light so that anything dark and toxic has to go. And so when we lay the hands, I'm connecting to Source, connecting to God, and I'm just a vessel. And so this energy runs through me, and I fill you up with that. And then I go from the head. I start from the head all the way down to the feet. Where I'm different, like I mentioned earlier, when I touch people, I receive messages. So when I touch someone's head, I know what's going on in your mind, maybe what you're thinking about. When I touch your heart, same thing. I know what's in your heart. I know how you feel about yourself, how you relate to people, and just different parts of the body tells me different things. I don't speak during the session also because I want people to experience what they need to. Some people hear things, see things, feel things. But then afterwards, I discuss everything that I felt and everything that I heard, and then we have a conversation from that.
I like that. That's really nice. And do you find that some of the people's thoughts sort of like raise your eyebrows as you're working? Like, I know you're still running energy and you can still do that, but let's say you hear something really out of the box, or um, I don't want to. But look, we all have faulty thoughts that run through our minds. We're humans. That's what we
Sometimes,
do.
well, the messages that I receive, because it's from you, it's from the client. A lot of times the client already knows, they're like, oh, I hear that all the time, or, oh, I know that. So it's the type of message that you need to hear. So there's been times where I have received messages where I thought it was kind of mean or snarky, but that's what the client needed to hear. There were times where I was like, oh man, should I say this? And I would be very hesitant because I wouldn't personally say it, but that's how the person needs to hear it, or that's what they understand. And there are times where the words don't make sense to me, and I'll even question it in my head when I hear it, and they're like, no, you have to say it like this. And when I say it exactly the way I hear it, the client's always like, oh, that means this to me, or this means that. So then after doing many sessions, I just, whatever I hear is what I say, and it usually helps the client out.
So when you're working with children, how does that work with sharing messages with children?
Oh, so I really enjoy working with children. I've done sessions, so healing sessions as young as 3. And so I do 2 types. If the child is still small enough, I do a parent-child combination where the parent lays on their back and the child lays on top of them, kind of like a cuddle position. And then I give a session to both the child and to the parent. Or if the child is, say, over the age of 10, and they're too big to lay on the parent, then I do a solo session with them. And go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, so with children, because a lot of times they don't have the words yet. They don't know how to express what they're feeling, or they don't even know what they're feeling. So when I feel what they're going through and I could put words to that, then I could, at the end of the session, I'll tell the parents everything. I'll be like, okay, well, this is what your child is feeling because of this, or this is what your child wants more of because of this. And so the parents get a lot of these aha moments where they're like, oh, I never even thought of it that way. Or as adults, we think we're expressing ourselves clearly because this is how we've shared certain things for so long, but to a child, they don't understand. So, for example, we'll just use even just yelling or raising the voice. A lot of times to a child that scares them. They don't understand that. They don't understand why is this person yelling or scaring me? They just feel scared. So it's little things like that where, what we think might be normal in our communication is different for a child. Or maybe a child wants more love but doesn't know how to express that. So I could feel those things and tell a parent how to support what their child needs.
How does this work if a child is anxious or depressed? How does it work with them? Not necessarily the messages, but the process, like how it might calm them down or lift their spirits, something like that. I mean, I'm sure it does that.
Yeah, well, Reiki, a lot of people find calming. It calms the nervous system. So children do find that they feel a lot calmer afterwards. But during the session, I do speak to the children just to make them feel more comfortable. And if they have any questions at all, they're talking to me throughout the entire time, like, oh, what are these crystals? What's this one? I see colors. So they're communicating with me while I'm doing the session. And I find that they're very relaxed, and I haven't really had any problems with them accepting they're very open. I guess if their parents told them, like, try this, they've been pretty open.
Well, I agree that they probably would be because their parents, they trust their parents.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate to say it, even if a kid has been verbally or physically abused by a parent, they'll still trust the parent to an extent until they're old enough not to trust this parent anymore,
Mm-hmm.
to know better.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yes.
And this would help them sort of like let them say, there's a good reason why I'm trusting my parent, because they're giving me this beautiful process. Not in those words, not in that clarity, because kids don't think like this, but would you agree that that would happen with a child?
Yes, and then even afterwards, because I always ask, so how did you like the session, and how did you feel about it? And they'll express what what they felt, and they're like, oh, I like it, and they'll tell their parents that, and they find it easy for them too, because instead of going to therapy and having to talk, they don't really have to do much, where they're just relaxing and it brings them back to center.
So in your practice, you do one-on-one sessions in person. Do you do remote sessions of Reiki?
Yes, I do distance healings, and I have clients that I've never met in person, and basically it works the same way as a in-person session, except that I'm just not there. But my clients have said they felt as if I was in the room. They feel when I'm on their head, they know where I'm different parts of the body. And then I give them a full written report after the session with all the messages that I received. And then we have a conversation afterwards. But during the session, we're not on Zoom, we're not on the phone or anything. I just give them instructions. Okay, you're gonna lay either on the bed or a yoga mat, and you're gonna say, I'm receiving an energy healing from Bernadette, and then I'll say, I'm sending an energy healing. I do the session, and for some people, it can be more powerful than in person. I personally like doing it because so for example, if someone has walls around their heart, I can't physically, it's like I can't like hit the person, but spiritually I could kind of punch down those walls and really get in there and grab the heart. So there are some benefits to a distance session.
And when she says grab the heart, I don't think she's talking literally. So just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
But I agree that there is that. But what if the client, you say, I'd like you to go in a quiet space and lie down, whether it's on a sofa or a bed, and they don't do it. Meanwhile, they're driving around running errands. Can they still receive just as well?
I've had some people just sitting, but I do feel that we need to connect. So taking that time, making that space, putting the commitment to healing. So I would prefer somebody who's told me, oh, I did it while I was, finishing up work, but I would prefer if you were, had this dedicated time for it. Yes.
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference when people stop what they're doing and do it. They're instructed because you're instructing them for a reason, because you're the professional and you know how they're going to get the highest and best good of the session.
And they need to experience too what will come up, because a lot of times during these distance healings, people see things, they feel things, and so that is also part of the process. And some people just fall asleep, and maybe that's what they really need, that rest or that deeper healing. Sometimes I feel like people fall asleep in Reiki, it's because they needed to shut the mind off and just receive, because a lot of times the mind just keeps going and going with all the worries, and you're running through your day. So I'll get there and turn it off, fall asleep, and do the healing that you need.
Nice. That sounds so beautiful. Do you have a story that started out as a child, ended up at the end of the day being one of the most powerful experiences of your client?
Can you repeat the question again? It kind of just blurred out.
Okay, so a challenging client, where you start off and you're like, you might be in your head trying because they're so resistant or whatever it might be. And then after the session was done, there was such a huge shift in the client that now it's like one of those talking stories like, yeah, I had this client once and, they came in and blah, 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 and they had all these issues. And I didn't, I was hopeful, but I wasn't quite sure that they were going to be open to after the session was done, boom. Do you have an experience like that you can share with us?
Actually, that happens a lot more often because I find that a lot of people who are just beginning their spiritual journey are just kind of dipping their toe and kind of like, okay, I think I want to try this, but they're not so sure. So I do have clients that come in and maybe they've maybe seen a psychic before, or they've heard of Reiki and have been told about it. Like there's a part of them that's being called to, okay, let's do this, but they're still sort of unsure. So when I meet them for the first time, in the beginning, you could kind of tell they're closed off, or they don't want to tell you anything, which is totally fine with me because actually I don't want to really know anything. And you could just tell they're like, okay, yeah, sure. And then after the session, and then I start talking to them about the messages, you could see just that their energy has completely changed. They're more open. They want to talk more. And then they book the next session, which sometimes, when they first come in, there is that wall up because they're unsure, like, what is this? What am I getting myself into? So those are one type. That's a lot of times I do get those clients. And then the other type of clients that I seem to get a lot are those who are and have been on their spiritual journey and are coming into their intuitive gifts, so learning how to use them. So a lot of times I can tell if you're an intuitive, what your gifts are or what you need to do to have your gifts evolve. So in a way, I always say I'm not a teacher, but these messages help me guide a lot of intuitives to their next level.
It's funny you say that because I really do feel that you are going to be teaching classes, that you will be bringing groups of people together and teaching. So I think once you are resigned to the fact that, yes, I am actually a teacher, things will come to you and you are going to start teaching. Now, do people ever come to you for just intuitive/mediumship kind of sessions?
I have worked on people where they have maybe a family member or a loved one who has recently died. And so when I do sessions with them, I'm clearing out their energy in the traditional sense. And then because their loved one is still around, I can sense them and they'll relay messages to me. I really do enjoy those because it gives the client a lot of peace, a lot of closure, and it answers some questions that they still had.
And especially if it was a sudden death, I would think that there's like a lack of closure, a lot of questions, or maybe they had an argument with the person the last time they spoke with them, and there's guilt and shame attached to that. So having that closure is so powerful.
Yeah, and I've had where clients, I've told them, if you have any questions or if there's things that you want to know, just think about it. And they don't tell me, but then the messages that I'm getting from those who've passed on will answer all of them. And so then people afterwards, they're like, oh, everything I wanted to know was, you said everything, So.
Nice. What was your reaction the first time a spirit on the other side communicated with you?
Well, the first time, so the messages coming didn't happen right away. The first time it happened, I was actually volunteering with my Reiki teacher. We were helping those who help the homeless. And so we were at a homeless shelter giving Reiki sessions to the workers there. And the woman that I was working on, I had my hands on her and I heard, "Oh, your grandmother's here." And then I was like, "Who? My grandmother? Whose grandmother?" And so then I heard this grandmother had all these messages for the woman that I was working on. And I felt so bad because I didn't know what was happening. And then not till after that was, oh, it was her grandmother, and her grandmother wanted me to tell her these things. And then same thing ever since then, whenever I hear anything, I just say it. But
So
that
did you end
first
up
time
giving
it
that
threw me
first
off.
person? Did you end up giving her the messages, going back and giving her the messages?
No, actually, I never got to go back and see her again. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that grandmother just sort of like said, okay, she didn't send the messages. I'm moving on.
Yeah, I hope she found another way to send her those messages.
And there always is other ways, isn't there?
Mhm.
I mean, we were talking about the out of the box, not a direct line. So, people can pay attention to songs or quotes, and you can, or maybe they see a flower that was your grandmother's favorite flower, or
Mhm.
the being a flower. And
Yeah.
it's ways of them to connect and communicate with them.
Yeah. She just wanted her to know that she loved her and that she was with her and how proud and that she was of her. But see, those messages I know would have now I know makes a huge difference for the clients to hear those types of things.
And probably because the client on the table, whose grandmother it was, really was not feeling good about herself and about her contributions in this world as a being, as an earth being, and needed to hear that. So she's like, oh, okay, I am worthy. I am good. Because
Mm-hmm.
that happens to many of us
Yes.
until we have the confirmation on the other side that they're seeing us, watching us, and they're telling us, like from the other side, yeah, you're doing great.
Yes. Yeah.
Makes a huge difference. So, how many teachers have you had?
Um, I want to say I've had about 4 or 5 that really have left an imprint on me. Obviously, my Reiki teacher being one, just because he's opened up this whole new world to me, and he's still my mentor. I still see him um, at least once a month, just because we'll do an energy exchange. Because I do feel as intuitives, we have to also maintain our energy and clear ourselves out. Because we work with so many people, we pick up so much stuff. So whenever I hear, say, an intuitive or a healer say, "Oh, I don't need healing, I'm a healer," that just kind of puts up a red flag for me. So I still work with him a lot. His name is Carlos Caridad, and he um, focused a lot on cancer healing. I believe he became a healer because his son had cancer, and so that was his path. Um, and then it sort of made sense too with me because my friend was diagnosed with cancer. But but when I first started on my journey, there's this psychic medium who I still love and go to is Shirley Lipner. And she has always known or told me that I was going to go down down a path like this. And then Laura Bushnell. And for me, that was the first time I experienced any sort of, I guess, spiritual healing in a way of that was just different. It opened a whole new world for me where it was the connecting to myself, hearing myself, and those kinds of things, a little bit of activating. And then my newest teacher is, his name is Frank Joseph, and I, I kept hearing another call to go. So for me, I'm hearing to go to kind of to another level. So there's more gifts coming for me. And so he's helping me navigate that, how to transition or how to bring the two worlds together. Because right now I do feel a little bit separate where, okay, I'm a Reiki healer here, but then I turn it off and then I'm back to just being normal Bernadette, living a normal, like just the normal life. But so I'm trying to find a way to integrate it all so that it is all the time.
Yeah, it's connected all the time, which it really is. It's always connected. It just is right now where you're at. You're just, yes, I agree that Frank Joseph is going to be great with having you learn how to blend the two lives together. But in all reality, you are a walking healer. You are a walking source of energy and conduit for healing for people and for yourself. It's truly, nothing is outside of ourselves, you know. It's all inside, from the inside out. And that's where our healings come from.
Yeah.
So I mentioned this is the month of Thanksgiving. We have Thanksgiving in 2 weeks.
Yes.
How do you give thanks for the season? And how do you talk up to your clients about bringing that appreciation and thankfulness into their, not only just the holiday, but into their lives?
Well, I believe in, at this time, there's part of gratitude is also forgiveness of oneself, forgiveness of others. So I think once again, it's a time of reflection where we have to acknowledge our own responsibilities of our relationships with others. So, looking at what you might have done to cause any wrong, and then seeking forgiveness, seeking love, mending those relationships. Because I am a big family person. I believe there's a reason why these people are part of your spirit, of your journey here on this earth. There's a lot of karma. There's a lot of things that you could heal there. So resolving those issues, resolving issues with the family and mending those relationships, I think this is a great time for that.
Thank you. That's wonderful. So it's charity shout out time. And I love my charities, and I love to highlight the charities of my guests because hopefully we're all trying to make life better for others as well as for ourselves. And your charity is Royal Family Kids Camp. So let's talk about Royal Family Kids Camp, why this is something that a charity that you're so passionate about, and why you would want other people to participate in it.
So Royal Family Kids Camp basically is a dedicated week for foster kids in the LA County foster care system. And basically it's giving these kids an opportunity to just have fun and to enjoy and kind of forget that they're these foster kids. It also gives these foster parents a break for a week. I got into this because, I've always felt a calling to be working with kids. And my dad's a pediatrician. My mom was a pediatric nurse. So just anything kid-oriented has called me. So that's probably why I also do Reiki sessions with kids. But here you could also be a mentor. So when you are, after being a camp counselor for a week with these foster kids, then you could be assigned 1 to 2 kids, and then you do these monthly clubs, or where you go to a club meeting for a day, and then you do like an activity on your own with these kids. And it's just to show them another world, another side, to give them access to things that they normally wouldn't be able to do. And if that's just, you know, taking them out for lunch, or going to just recently maybe like a pumpkin patch, or any of these things that break up their day, and being in the foster home just gives them some hope.
And it brings them great memories and things that help make them a little bit more well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. Do you go and do, is this something that you're physically involved in, or is this just something
Yes.
you donate?
So the camp, like, you actually live in a cabin with a couple other counselors, and also with the kids that you're assigned. And then during when you're a mentor, you are there at club doing activities with them, and then you also have your own time where maybe you take 5 hours one weekend, and you do your choice, whatever you want to do. You could take them out to the beach, or you could take them out to lunch, or you could take them to the zoo, anything that you want to do. But the camp
Nice.
is a lot of fun. A lot of times, you know, there's this one day, we call it, it's like their birthday party day. A lot of times foster kids don't even know when their birthdays are. So we do a celebration where, oh, okay, it's everybody's birthday today, and everybody receives gifts, and we have a birthday party. And usually that's the kids' favorite day, because maybe they never had a birthday party before. They never had cake before, or no one's ever thought of, if you're moving from foster home to foster home, people don't remember your birthday.
Which is so sad, because I'm a huge celebrator of birthdays. So I'm a huge, advocate of, birthdays are so important, because that's the day you were graced. You're gracing us with your presence, even though they might not feel that way. Being a foster child, they truly are magical beings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard when you're in that environment to remember.
And they do appreciate, because like with the foster parents, they know, oh, well, you're getting paid to take care of me. Here, we're volunteers. We're doing this because we want to love you. We want to help you. So there is it makes a difference to them. Like, oh, here's this person who's not getting anything out of this except to just spend time with me. So,
right. So how can people from, let's say, the other side of the world help this organization?
Well, this organization, so the one that I am part of, is part of King's Harbor Church. It's not a church that I go to, but I've heard of this, the Royal Family Kids, and they're all over the country, actually. And I think different communities do them. So if they look up locally, and I think it's international too, but if they just put in like Royal Family Kids, a local one will pop up for them.
Nice. So you can help any way you can. Check out this organization. You'll find the website on our blog, along with Bernadette's information, her website, her email address, so you can contact her directly and have her work with you. So I want to ask this. Why is it important to change your perspective, and whether it's in healing or in life?
Well, I think changing your perspective, wanting to heal, is part of self-love. And the more you heal, the more you grow, the more you evolve, the more you get closer to who you're meant to become. And finding that peace, finding your purpose, finding your calling is the priority. People want to live a life that they're proud of and happy with, and it is thinking about, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered when you leave this planet? How do you want people to remember you? And did you make a difference?
I like that. So in essence, it's how did you touch other people's lives, and what did that touch leave? Like, what did you leave behind when you did that? Which is so beautiful.
And I think people don't think about that enough. Sometimes we just, okay, yes, we live our lives daily, but it's like, okay, what do you want to leave behind? What is your goal?
I really like that, because you're right. Most people don't even consider what they want to leave behind. They're just trying to survive in the moment, or their trajectory is forward on what they're going to achieve, and getting into the whole male energy thing of achieving and success and moving forward. I think that's beautiful, to remind people to think about, what do you want to leave behind? How do you want to touch people? How do you want to be remembered?
And when you change your perspective that way, then it keeps you focused. Then it keeps you goal oriented. And if it's even something simple like, okay, what I just said or what I just did, is that in alignment with what I'm trying to achieve? And it'll keep you in check. You're keeping yourself in check that way.
I like that. I like that a lot. And lastly, what is your tip to living a happy and fulfilling life?
My tip, well, it's your life, right? So do what makes you happy, be honest with yourself, and yeah, sorry. I think, it's just, no one else is responsible for you or responsible for your happiness. So make sure you're doing the things that you want to do.
I think that's beautiful. And we only have a couple of more minutes left. So at this point, I'm going to ask you, what is it you'd like to share with the audience that I haven't asked you about? This is your time to get it all out.
Well, if you've never had a Reiki session before, I think that, there's a lot of benefits for it. A lot of people do use it for pain management, to help heal emotional trauma, to help just help you live your life to the fullest without anything holding you back. So I feel like, just to even try it once to see what kind of messages you get or how you feel afterwards is worth a try.
Nice. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience?
No, but thank you guys all for listening. This is the first podcast I've ever done, and thank you, Marla, for making it easy and and helping get my story out there.
Well, I'm grateful you're on the show. Thank you so much, Bernadette. I love your story. I love your passion, because you can feel your passion in how, you went from being a client to a practitioner, and how you're now being of service to so many to help them live the life they're divinely meant to live. And we all are divinely meant to live the most beautiful, prosperous, and abundant life. And that doesn't mean money. It could mean health. It could mean having everything it is that you need, want, and desire in your life. And so I appreciate your sharing that with us today.
Yes, thank you.
Very special. Please go check out Bernadette Pelina at lovespiritgratitude.com. Again, her information will be in the blog, so you can check it out and see how she can work with you and help you wherever you are, since she can do the remote healings in your life. And so thank you again. I so appreciate you. I want to thank Bridget for all you do. And left hand, and I'm so grateful for you each and every day. I'm grateful for you, the listening audience, for participating in this show, whether it's live or if it's uploaded on your favorite listening platform. I do the show for you, with you in mind. So if there's a practitioner you're interested in having interviewed, or a technique, please feel free to email me at guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Also, it's next week. It's Thanksgiving. We will be having a replay for the holidays, but I do want to wish you the happiest of holidays, and I hope that you have a wonderful, gratifying, and thankful experience. I know families can be hard, so remember you have a choice in how to react to somebody who's trying to push your buttons, who's trying to pet the snake. And so I'm going to invite you that if this starts happening, to excuse yourself, step away, take a deep breath, take some slow, deep breathing breaths to ground you again, and re-enter the group whenever it is you're ready for. Holiday time can be challenging. If you have any questions about challenges, I do offer a 20-minute complimentary consultation. Check out my website at MarlaGoldberrg at goldberghas2rs.com. See how I can work with you. And again, like I said, I offer a 20-minute complimentary consultation/evaluation. The week after Thanksgiving, I have Abe Brown joining me as my guest. And Abe is what is he? He's a certified flourish coach. So I'm looking forward to talking to him and seeing how he can help your life flourish as it deserves to be. Okay, so trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing with all my announcements. Okay, I'm going to leave you by sending you love, blessings, and gratitude. Know how grateful I am that you're in my life in whatever capacity you're in it, for not only are you my student, you are my teacher. Not only am I your teacher, I am your student. We are here to share and learn from each other. And if you haven't heard these words today, let me say them to you. I love you. You are loved. Whether you feel like you are or not, you are. Not just by me, and not just by family and friends, but there are so many on the other side of the veil who just love you, who just want you to have the most incredible experience in Earth School. If you need something, want something, desire something, ask for it. Ask out loud, because the vibrations is larger when you speak it out loud, so that they can conspire to start acting on your behalf. They do not have free will, these beings on the other side of the veil who love you so much. So you need to ask for what it is you need, want, desire. And then here's what we talked about in the show, and I'm going to say it again. Pay attention to what's happening around you, because your answer may come as a song, a lyric in a song, a poem, something you hear on a movie or a TV show. You could overhear somebody else's conversation. It's exactly what you needed and what you needed to hear. So remember to please ask for what you need out loud, so they can conspire to work on your behalf. Again, I'm going to wish you the happiest of Thanksgiving. And until the next time, stay well, take care, and be happy.